Oh, am I audible? Yes. Yeah, thank you. I come from a company, Archroma, which has been merged with six multinationals inside, from Sandoz to Clarion to BSF and now Huntsman, which was Siva in the past, all major multinationals, but mostly around the textile and the area of leather and some of the adhesives and paper industries. Huh? Now, for us, the supply chain, with all the cultural changes, with all the mergers, were changing all the time. And this was very important that everyone had a different system. And I've seen all the acquisitions and the kind of transformation we need to bring in, and bringing the companies together and cultures together was not so easy. And everyone has a different set of tools and IT systems and MRP issues. So that was from the external point of view. What is happening now is the chemical industry is also getting into a lot of consolidation. And supply chain becomes also an important part, that in this whole process of consolidation, the customers would not suffer. At the end of the day, you could be a B2B or a B2C customer, wherever which industry you belong to. Now, the problem is that motive becomes a major factor, either the way you judge it. Even for our conference, hope everything will be on time and therefore in time. And since we are from supply chain, most of these people and everyone has to be agile in terms of getting the goods or our conference time in time. The speed is important. The care is important in terms of safety, in terms of agility, but don't forget about compliances. There are a lot of things we'll bring in. When we talk about ESG, either scope 1, scope 2, scope 3 emissions, and various things around the governance aspect, especially onto the supply chain. Because when you're running a company, like I'm being a managing director, 135 laws to follow. So, in order to become agile, you should not become also into a wrong side of the whole story. Because even in supply chain, what I understand, out of the 135 law, at least 20, 25 laws are applicable there. Either from the warehousing perspective, shipment, on the road, insurance, a lot of things are there to be there. And if you don't have that, we look at it in India, the shipments around ethoxylates, EO is on the road. It's not a pipeline. And people who do this kind of reaction is always on the road. You see a bomb in front of you. So you need to be care. What I'm saying in terms of agility, the care is very important. And then the whole demand perspective is changing so strongly all over, that capturing the demand itself is a problem. No one can give you the right forecast in this week. Now, that's why the digitalization of AI becomes very important in terms of the historical way you have been able to progress onto the demand side. Also, when you put the demand, you need to also look at where the goods are coming from. And that's where I feel majority of the things which I've seen in all the six major multinationals I have dealt with, also had a global supply chain. So what I've seen is that the lead times are not really mapped. Everyone has to keep some cushion. Either a purchase guy will keep or a production guy will keep it the whole value chain. Then you get to a problem of wrong lead times, and no one checks that. I can tell you that. Even on the MRP planning on the supply side, there are issues, I can tell you. And when you look at the MRP, the way it is calculated, and when you take the formula out, you will see a disaster sometimes. Because the formula for a traded goods or a finished good or a raw material are all calculated a different way. So it throws out what purchase orders in a way, it throws out a production plan, it throws out a traded goods plan in terms of getting it. So coming from demand to the supply aspect, you need to be careful. This whole process of S&OP, what we call, important is who's driving it. It's not about a supply chain manager driving or a production guy driving, but you need to have the right person driving it. You make a lot of blunders not taking a decision during this whole process, it'll end up with problems. And every time you deal with emergencies in this whole process, because a lot of things are not taken care in the historical part, and I feel the planning process is mostly around the delta between the historical and what is going to happen plus or minus. And that's the adjustment happens in the S&OP. And the production plan also comes out, and you throw out a plan where you have a batch size of 10 tons and you want to produce 1 ton. So you can land up with few stocks, either slow movers or non-movers or stockouts. Now, this is where every company faces it. How you manage this whole story in a proper way is going to be the most important thing. Now, going forward, as the whole thing transits, I feel a lot of supply chain team will go into more of an electronic, and a lot of jobs will be squeezed in the whole process, and the AI will take on, because it's all about data management, but human intervention, mainly with respect to the customers and your data, is going to still prevail. So we need to be aware of that. So I just brought in some points I can take on later. I can talk a lot on this. Thank you very much.